Hi everyone, Grant K here for the Smoke Learning channel. In the previous video, we looked at the first technique to blur faces and logos in action. In this video, we will use some of the other nodes in ConnectFX to do the same thing. However, this will enable you to stylize the look of your work. For example, you may want to pixelate an area of your image instead of blurring it. So the next technique would be the way to go. If you would like to follow along, please click the link in the YouTube description to download your media. If you are watching the podcast version of this video, then type the link displayed in your internet browser. Again, here is our individual walking across the screen. Let's go into ConnectFX to start the workflow. Call up the Effects ribbon by clicking on the Effects button, or press Ctrl-Tab. Click Create ConnectFX. If required, hide the media panel to give you more room by pressing one left arrow. The first thing we will do is create the mask and track it to our subject. Go to the ConnectFX node bin and press G for the Gmask node. Drag the Gmask node out of the node bin and drop it into the connection. Double-click on the Gmask node for its controls. Hover over the result view and press F1 for the front view of the Gmask. You use this view so you can see the outlines of your mask over the media. Now go to frame 1. You can click Add under the object header and start drawing a mask. Or you can click Load and choose a Gmask preset in the file browser. For this example, I will select the circle. Now we'll track this mask before we position it over his head. Ensure the mask is selected by clicking on its outline. Since he is moving across the screen, this is a simple position track. Set the Adjust pull-down menu to Adjust Axis. This will shift the mask over to the center of the axis after the track is complete. Click the Stabilizer button to enter into the tracking tools. Click the middle of the tracker boxes and place them over the man's ear. Press Analyze to start the track. This should be fairly straightforward. Once the track is complete, click Return to exit the stabilizer. Now scale the mask to slightly larger than his head. When you scrub the time bar, you can see how the mask follows him as he moves across the shot. Pressing F4 to see the result view, you will see the mask result that you have created. The next step is creating the stylized effect you want to show through the mask. Click the Home button to return to the ConnectFX default layout. In the ConnectFX node bin, press D for Damage. Drag out a damage node and place it in the schematic. Connect the original source clip into the input of the damage node. Now double-click on the damage node for its controls. Switch the damage type from film to digital video. At the bottom of the list, enable the Pixelation option. Set the transparency to 0. If you don't see the advanced controls, click the Pixelation button again and you will have the advanced options to the right. You can play with these settings to tweak the look you want. The next step in the workflow is to combine the pixelated image on top of the original using the mask. So go back to the ConnectFX node bin and press B for Blend and Comp. Drag out a Blend and Comp node and connect it to the CFX output node. Now take the output from the damage node and connect it into the first red input of Blend and Comp. Next, take the output of the Gmask node and connect that to the first blue input of Blend and Comp. Finally, connect the original media into the green background input of the Blend and Comp node. Double-click on the Blend and Comp node and you will see the combined composite in the result view. If you scrub the time bar, you can see we have a pixelated shape covering over the subject's head. The damage node could actually be any node you want. So in terms of stylization, this could be a blur node or something else to create a particular look. There is one last area I would like to look at before we finish off. In the result view, use Ctrl-Option to zoom into our subject. Next, use Ctrl-Command and pan our subject to the center of the view. Looking closely at the mask, you can see the hard edge as a result of the G-mask node. If you wanted to soften the edges, you could just blur or soften the mask. But I would like to pixelate the edges to get rid of that circular feel. The pixelated effect is driven through the damage node, so I would like to duplicate the damage node and apply it to the mask before combining the composite. Select the damage node in the ConnectFX schematic. Press Command D to duplicate the node. Now drop the node after the G-mask node into the connection. Straight away, you can see the mask has been pixelated in the result view. If you click on the Blend and Comp node, you can see the combined result of all the elements we have created. As a final workflow tip, currently both damage nodes have the same settings. But if you wanted to change the pixelation settings, it would be ideal to have both damage nodes linked together and update with the changes. Change the Tools menu from Select to Mimic Link. Mimic Link is mapped to Shift-W. Now click and drag a connection between the damage nodes. A link connection is formed and it is bidirectional. Press Shift-M to switch back to Select mode. So if you go into either of these nodes and change a setting, it would be mimicked in the other. So in this two-part video series, we have covered different techniques to mask and cover up things we don't want to see in the shot. Comments, feedback and suggestions are always welcome and appreciated. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe to the Smoke Learning channel for future videos.